I see my life as a triangle, where you have to balance your work, your personal life, and also yourself. Some people think I have it like all figured out and everything is perfect. I also can't, always meet my deadlines, or it's not all perfect. I've started getting messages about, oh, thank you very much for sharing this. This is very useful, which I never got before. Like those messages when they were coming, I was always saying, this really makes my day, that you need to find the value that you're giving to people. People always forget to stop and be in the moment and actually appreciate the way that they came. And just to content creators, I want to say, just keep doing what you're doing.
Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth episode of Before the Breakthrough. Today with us we have Ayan, a mother, content creator and a finance professional. Originally from Azerbaijan, she is living in Netherlands as an expat and built a life over here. She lives with her husband and a 16-month-old son. With her unfiltered approach, she is sharing the realities of motherhood, personal finance and life in Netherlands. Through her content sharing, she has built a growing community of people who are seeking for personal finance advice and inspiration with related to motherhood. So without any delay, let's get into it. Hello Ayan.
Hi, hello.
Welcome to Before the Breakthrough.
Thank
you for joining us today. Let's start with the first question. Please introduce yourselves to us. So we would like to know who you are as a person and as a content creator.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me here today. So, as a person in my day to day life, I am a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, and I also work in a bank in the Netherlands. So, yeah, I combine all of those personalities, like many of us, in myself. And that's exactly what I'm trying also to mirror in my content on in my Instagram blog. So I'm just trying to show my life as it is, how I'm balancing all of these different roles that I have in my life. So I would say that me as a person and me as a content creator or my online presence, I just try to make sure that the two worlds are kind of aligned. And a little bit about myself. Originally, I come from Azerbaijan, but I've been living in the Netherlands for almost 12 years already. So I first came here to study, then I found a job, then I met my husband, and then one thing led to the other. Now I call the Netherlands my home, and I'm also raising a son. He is now 16 months old. So yeah, that's in a nutshell about me.
Very nice. Thank you for that introduction. And I think I can see you as a multifaceted person, as you mentioned, like balancing different roles. I think, especially as a mother, it can be very challenging to balance life as well as work, as well as something like a hobby or a goal you are trying to build, right, with content creation. So, really nice to hear that. So, when did you think that you are going to be a content creator? What was the moment you thought, like, this is something what I want to do? So, how was it for you?
Yeah, for me, it started actually back in 2020 when COVID hit. And I think, like many of us, I was just at home. I had so much free time and I didn't know what to kind of do with it. And back then, I was actually studying, doing my master's, and I was really into the whole self development, motivation areas, topics. And that's when I thought, oh, maybe I would like to actually share some of the things that I read online with people on Instagram. And that's, I think, was the first time when I actually made my profile public. And I started taking some pictures. And back then, I don't think there were any reels. So it was just posts and maybe some videos. So that's when I started. And it didn't last long. So since then, I would say I was continuously on and off on Instagram. I was not really taking it seriously as a business or as a side hustle or hobby, so to say. It was just something that I would go on, post a couple of posts, and then go offline for a long period of time. But yeah, that's when it kind of started for me. That's when I just felt that, okay, there's something I would like to share with others. And that was, 2020. So exactly after COVID hit.
Nice. Yeah. Good to know. And then it's been some years, and like you said, it's a bit of up and down journey, but now you are doing it consistently. So that's very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I have two curious things to ask based on this. One thing is, how does your day look like as a content creator, or a week? and how do you balance life? Because especially you are a mother of a 16 months old boy, it can be really, really challenging, and it can be so demanding to take care of the boy. I know from my first hand experience, because I also have a 5-year-old boy and a 5 months old daughter.
Yeah.
So I can see that.
Yeah.
So how does it look for you?
Yeah, I actually, to answer, like maybe to start with your second question, I got a similar question on my Instagram story recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I see my life as a triangle, where you have to balance your work, your personal life, and also yourself. And it's never for me that three are just balanced. I always have to sacrifice one of them. And I think right now, at this point in life, I'm sacrificing actually the part of myself. So, for example, I would like to work out more. I would like to take more care of myself. But at the same time, I need to work. I want to continue with my blog. I need to take care of my family and of my son. So, right now, basically, myself, like my sleep, everything is at a sacrifice, or I'm taking a cost there. And that's just the truth. Like, that's just how it is. If you want to, I think, succeed, or if you want to do multiple things, then you just need to figure out what is it that you want to give away for the time being, at least. I hope so. So that's how it is right now for me. And I'm not basically perfect. There are days when I'm really good at work, and then I'm not so present at home, and then the other way around. And that's just something that I came to accept. It is what it is. And for the part about how my day/week look like as a content creator, I would like to maybe describe more my week, because I don't have the exact days when I'm, let's say, specifically structured in terms of my content creation. But because I have my day-to-day job, that's like my main job, that's basically where I am present from 8, 9 o'clock in the morning till 5, 6 in the evening. So those are the days when I'm in the office, and that's usually 4 days a week. Luckily, I can also work from home. That kind of helps to balance a bit with my family. And then for content creation, I try to dedicate 2 days, but not full days. Let's say there would be a Saturday morning when I would spend 2, 3 hours on trying to think about the content plan, about scripting my videos, what I would like to talk about. And then one of the weekdays, usually it's Monday, that's my mama dag when I'm at home. So when my son is napping, I have this 2, 3 hours window when I can actually film. And then I would be filming in batches. So those are the two main parts when I do create content for myself. And then in the evenings throughout the week, I would actually edit all of those videos, because that also takes quite some time. Sometimes I think, oh, it's just like 10, 15 minutes, but no, it can be longer. And those are just scattered throughout the week. Whenever I have time, I can do that on the train when I'm going to the office, maybe during lunch break. So I try to just find those minutes here and there to do that. And that's basically how it looks in terms of how I try to create the content.
Nice. So yeah, it's a bit of a sacrifice, is what you say, if I
Yeah,
understand correctly. So you have to
yeah.
sacrifice something to gain something. I think, and that's the way of life in some ways. So yeah, so you are saying that you are balancing all these things, and then you are putting like a couple of days into content creation. There is a misconception probably saying that when you become a content creator, you are into it, right? You are always on Instagram, for example, and you're always scrolling on Instagram, trying to find ideas or creating your ideas. So you are really consumed by it. But
Yeah.
what I hear from you is that you don't really need to spend like entire week on it. But if you plan properly, or if you have a set of a structure, then probably it is not needed as much. Do you agree?
Well, there is still me, not a content creator person, where I'm just on Instagram and scrolling through some random videos. And of course, in that whole world of reels, sometimes I see something and I think, oh, this might be something useful that I can also, do something similar. So then I would save those reels or those posts for later. And then when I sit down and I start scripting, that's when I go there and then try to see, okay, what is it that I saved? But I'm still also struggling between where I put a hard stop. Okay, I shouldn't be on social media continuously, because I think as a content creator, you use that as an excuse. You're like, oh, I'm a content creator. That's why it's okay for me to scroll hours and hours long on Instagram or on TikTok or on YouTube. And that's where you really have to be like, I think, prepare yourself mentally that, okay, no, this is not an excuse. This is me just scrolling without any understanding what I'm doing at the moment. But yeah, no, I still do that. Like I'm also still on Instagram as a content consumer, not only as a content creator, but also as a content consumer.
Yeah, I do that as well. So I think I totally agree with your point that sometimes I also use being a content creator as an excuse to, scroll through a lot of reels, and then I know in back of my head that it is not actually productive for my
Yeah.
content creation, but still I'm enjoying it, and that's normal, right? So you are a mother, we talked about it. How does it have any influence on your content creation? How does it influence the way you create content or the way you think about content?
Well, my Instagram blog is actually mainly about me as a mother. So all the posts that I've been posting recently is about motherhood or about personal family finances. So it's all revolving around motherhood and family. And I think every time I think about actually my Instagram, I am really grateful to my son. You know, I thought, okay, if I am ever on a stage or I have one of those TED Talks or I write a book, definitely the first page is going to be dedicated to my son, because I think because of him, I am able to create this content. Because if there was no him, I would not be a mother. So I wouldn't be able to create that. And that is basically the core for me. So I also share my firsthand experience, how I'm experiencing motherhood. Like if I find any tips or tricks, then I try to share that with people. So for me, motherhood is also the place or the source of this inspiration that I do. And in the past, I was doing other types of topics. I was covering other types of topics, but I realized that that was just not taking off, or maybe I was not able to really find the niche or like a specific area where I would be really good at. But for me, motherhood basically played out well in terms of the content, and that's yeah, it's all around that basically.
Yeah, nice. So basically, it's your natural place in life now. Like you are as a mother, and then that is your life basically, and you're sharing your life as it is, with which will be educating a lot of people, and then sharing your ups and lows as well. So I think that is what
Yeah,
is connecting to people, I assume.
yeah, yeah,
When I looked at your profile recently, I've been following you for quite some time now, right? So I know how I see all your stories, reels, your trip to Azerbaijan. So I'm aware of your
yeah,
journey. So I saw that couple of videos really took off. They
yeah,
went viral, so to
yeah,
say, right?
yeah.
So how did that make you feel, and what was your takeaway from those?
Yeah, so those were actually the videos, I think, on personal finances. So that's when I realized, okay, money topic is really something that people are interested in, and not just talking about money, but actually giving some sort of a useful information. So that was the first time that I realized, oh, probably this is the area that I need to tap into, especially because I have experience in it. But the other realization that I got, which I never thought about before, is that when I saw those thousands of views and people commenting and also asking questions, I felt the responsibility that I carry in all of those videos, because I am sharing some information in a hope that I would help people. So if I say something incorrectly, or let's say those facts have not been checked, I hope I'm not harming anyone, but I also don't want to misinform people and then they would base their decision or something like that around it. So that's when I realized, okay, there is a lot of responsibility on you as a content creator. And it's not only about the money topic, like you can be talking about anything, even if you're advertising a hair shampoo, for example. You really have to check everything and not just post for the sake of posting, you know? So yeah, I thought it is a big responsibility. And when you think about it, like, okay, thousands and thousands of people are watching you and saving your posts for like later sending them to someone else, that's just made me take it all very seriously and not just as a, okay, you just post something on social media and forget about it.
Yeah, really amazing to see this because I have never heard this side of the story from a content creator. So when you get a lot of views, virality, it kind of gives you some power to influence a lot of people. But with that power also comes the responsibility part, which I totally agree,
Yeah.
because I also see a lot of contents where they are posting it for views, right? They
Hmm.
make it more like hook friendly, or like there is some information but it is not clear. But
Yeah.
I totally relate to what you are saying. I saw your reels and then it had clear information of how to do stuff, how to save for children, for example. I think one
Yeah.
of your videos. So I found it useful myself.
Yeah. Good.
So I think the responsibility part is really important here, because so many people creating so much stuff,
Yeah.
especially something which is marked as educational,
Hmm.
need to be really fact checked. So I'm really glad that you are responsible in that sense, and then you really
Yeah.
take it deep. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope more content creators do that as well.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So it doesn't become a place where a lot of information is there without any authentic source,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when you back it up with your financial knowledge and source, then that's what makes it really, I think, powerful information for people to consume. And then that really translates into the views you got and the engagement you got, right?
Yeah.
So maybe next one, it's a bit fun one, I think. So we are one version of ourselves on social media, right? We are maybe not 100%, maybe 90%. So I'm curious to know, is there anything about you that your followers or your viewers don't know about?
Um, think so there's nothing specific that, let's say, I'm hiding on purpose,
Mhm.
except for maybe some private information like all of us. But I think what some people think, and that's because based on what I actually heard from some of my friends, like what they say, how I seem on the social media, is that some people think I have it like all figured out and everything is perfect. Whereas it's not the case. Like I have also a messy living room with the child. I also can't, always meet my deadlines, or it's not all perfect. Whereas that's how sometimes it can be portrayed on social media on my profile. So that's what I'm also trying to change. And that's why I also added in my bio on Instagram that it's an unfiltered motherhood. So I'm trying just to share everything as is. So I think that that's one thing, but I couldn't think of any other, let's say, fact that people don't know about me. Like maybe it's just something that I haven't shared yet, but it's not right now on the top of my mind. Like, oh, that's maybe something like that. It's also always the case, when you're in the big group, like at work, and then they also ask you this question, oh, share a
Mhm.
fun fact about yourself, and you forget about all the fun things you do, and then you
Yes.
only think about like serious stuff. So I
Yes.
feel like I'm now in that moment of like, okay, what are facts that people don't know about me?
Yeah. That's the beauty of this kind of conversation, right? Because sometimes we are doing our own work and then we are continuing focused in our journey.
Yeah.
But what I feel personally, and I'm really proud about this, is that by doing this, the creators, what I've spoken to like few creators now, and everybody at the end, they thought it was a nice moment for us to stop and think about our journey a bit. So
Yeah.
when I ask these questions, you try to think of some things and then answering.
Yeah.
So it also helps you, I think, reflect your own journey, and then you feel, wow, I'm doing so many things, and
Yeah.
you're like, get a sense of appreciation for yourself. I hope so.
Yeah.
So it would
Yeah.
be really worth doing it for me. So
No, definitely. Yeah, I think in general, like whether it's content creation or your actual job or your life, people always forget to stop and be in the moment and actually appreciate the way that they came, because we are sometimes so focused on our goals that you achieve one goal, you put it aside and you move on to the next one. But it's good sometimes to just pause, say thanks to yourself, and just be proud of yourself and then go further. So, yeah, definitely I'm taking this now conversation as a journey to self reflect on how everything went.
yeah, a little pat on our back for
Yeah,
ourselves. So it would be nice
exactly.
once in a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, and in social media there are a lot of myths, right? So do this, then you will get a lot of engagement, you will get a lot of views, followers, all this kind of things. So I see every day at least 10 reels saying that copy this link, or comment, or follow to follow, all these kind of trends. as a growing creator, can you share something which is a big lie, which is speculated everywhere, that do this then you will get growth, but it's a lie that maybe everyone is believing? Do you have something like that to share for us?
Yeah, I think I was getting into those traps myself as well, especially in the beginning of the journey. Like when you're trying to grow your account, you're just trying to find all of those hacks that are going to get
Mm-hmm.
you faster to, I don't know, 10K, 20K followers. And then it's all about, like, at least the things that I was seeing and then the things that I was trying to do is all about, oh, this is the editing that you need to do. Let's say this is the exposure, you need to put it down because your picture needs to look like that, or this is how your feed needs to look like. So it's all about, like, let's say a visual, how it all needs to be. And not so many people talk about, like, the important thing is actually about the message or the information itself that you are sharing. Because I had, at least in my experience, they were reels that I did just like in 5 minutes, I posted it and it really got some good engagement because of the information that I had. And then I could also, I was also doing vlogs, for example. You see a lot of tips on that, like, oh, you should do this type of vlog, you should film from that angle, from this angle. And then you do all of that. You spend hours on editing those vlogs, and then they get like very little views. And then you think, okay, what am I doing wrong here? So I think all of those hacks that are being shared, they just don't say, or they don't talk enough about the most important is actually what you're talking about. It doesn't matter how you look. Obviously, it does. Like, there needs to be some sort of a visual hook, there needs to be a verbal hook, but the most important is still the information that you're trying to share with people, whether it's entertainment, educational, anything else. It's just more that you need to find the value that you're giving to people. So focus more on that value rather than all the operational things. Like, the operational things are going to come with experience. And then you will also find your own style that will make you unique and not just copying all of those other things. Another thing, I think now with the uprising of AI, there are a lot of videos where they say, oh, Claude can now create you can have a content factory and then put these prompts into Claude and then you're going to get content for, I don't know, 6 months ahead. But then it doesn't go too deep. Like, a person who has no experience with AI, if they put it into any AI chat, they will just get some sort of a generic answer. And then, yeah, what do you do with it? It's not going to be useful. So then they also don't share, of course, the details of how to get the actual juice out of that AI, right? So that I find now also like a big, I don't want to call it a lie, but there's a lot of videos around that AI, but then no one is, of course, going to share the actual tricks on how to use it properly for content creation. So yeah, those are the two things that that came to my mind now.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like your thought process on AI, and I 100% agree with you, because it's not a lie, but it's a half truth. That's what
Yeah,
I see it as. Because yes, you see a post which says 3 prompts to get you 100K views, for example. Only post or content that gets 100K views is that particular content itself,
yeah,
which says use AI, nothing else. Because
yeah,
it's not just magically doing something, then everybody would do it, right? Then everybody would
exactly.
get those kind of views. So
Yeah,
it's really important to know that it's you who are actually sharing authentic information is what matters more than
yeah,
your editing. Or I don't have a problem with editing, or I do edit myself actually,
yeah,
but it's more about that should not be the goal.
yeah,
The message should be the goal, and then you can do whatever you want if you have time, but it's more like the real content. So really
yeah,
nice that you also have the same thought process.
yeah.
You have started in 2020, and then you are doing up. You said you're doing up down, right? A bit not consistent, but now you are consistent, and that is very visible in your content with the kind of engagement you are getting recently. Where do you think you are going? What is your goal in that sense?
Um, well, my goal, as cliche as it may sound, is actually to help as many fellow mothers and parents as possible with the information that I can share. Because especially when my videos started getting like a lot of views, there were also a lot of new followers coming in. And I've started getting messages about, oh, thank you very much for sharing this. This is very useful, which I never got before. Like, those messages when they were coming, I was always saying, this really makes my day. And this is why I wanted to continue to give value to people. So I think that's more my bigger goal. Um, I haven't yet built my business plan, let's say for the next 5 years exactly, how it's all going to look like. But the goal is to just get more messages like that and truly helping people, whether it's with, I don't know, about giving birth in the Netherlands or how to structure your finances around those things. Like it's just helping people and getting also that engagement back, because it's not only me, let's say, sharing something, but also sometimes I see people also sharing their tips, or like I said something maybe not entirely correct, and then they try to say, oh, but actually this is not how it works, but this is how it works. And I'm like, okay, this is great, like the engagement is happening, people are talking. So I think for me that's kind of important, to have a platform where those fellow parents can gather and get information and also share information.
Yeah, that's really good to know. I want to extend the question a bit. I'm getting into a bit of concrete question. So every creator, especially because you have engagement, then how do you measure engagement? You start with your followers, views, those kind of things. So is there a number in your mind when you will see as a follower, right? Do you have like a follower count in your mind where you will see that at some day you will say that, okay, I did it? Do you have some number like that?
Well, now it's 10K. But I'm sure when I reach 10K, I'll probably be like, oh, next one is 50K and so on. Because for a very, very long time, I had only 1,000 of followers. And that was because of me going on and off, like I wasn't taking it seriously. And back then, for me, the number was 2,000. I thought, okay, when I reach the 2,000, that's going to be it. Like it's going to be a big milestone. And when I reached it, of course, I was happy. But now I'm at like 4K and I'm like, okay, 2000 was easy. Let's go further. So I think it's always changing depending on how far you get. But now it's 10K. So I think that's when I can be like, okay, now that looks like a serious block that I could continue working on, kind of.
Yeah. Yes, very nice. And I think we talked about a lot of different things. And I really hope you reach your next milestone very
Thank you.
soon. And yeah, it was really fun to talk to you, to know your insights on different things, and then share, whatever I have learned so far. So it was really enjoyable conversation with you.
Thank you
And
very much.
really, thank you for joining us today. And then, yeah, I wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me. It was really nice. It was also my first actually podcast interview. So it's, I'm very happy to be here today. And I hope that your viewers also learned something today as well from this video. And just to content creators, I want to say, just keep doing what you're doing. Like if you are very persistent, you're definitely going to reach your goal. So just continue no matter what.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.